This episode's going to be more around the mindset side of things versus the strategy. And what I want to instill in you is that you can get everything and anything you want in life, but it all starts with the mindset side of things. So, the house you want, the life you want, the trips you want to go on, the type of work you want to do. All of that is possible with both a combination of mindset and strategy, but so many people don't realize that they have to go hand in hand. We end up throwing around the word mindset, but really what it is, it's the undeniable belief in yourself that you will figure it out and that you will get whatever it is that you want. So many people actually want to jump into the strategy side of things first, but they haven't really taken the time to do a lot of that inner work and create the belief within themselves to get to the point where they do have that undeniable confidence to succeed. What I've noticed, especially in the real estate investing space, less so in the entrepreneurship space, I feel like you're starting to see it a lot more, but in the real estate investing space, the way that things are done are extremely masculine. As in, everyone's all about strategy, strategy, strategy. Let's get these numbers and we're going to go big and we're going to go get 850 doors, right? If you're anything like me, that just, I don't know, it just doesn't really inspire me. It doesn't flow well. And so this is my attempt in bringing more of the feminine side of things into the real estate investing scene, as well as the entrepreneurship scene. Because this whole thing called life is really just a mind game. And so in a lot of normal society, people tell you that you've got to be realistic, right? When you're a kid, it's totally okay to imagine and dream about what your life is going to look like, right? But then suddenly, especially once you get into high school, once you get into college, and then once you get into the workforce, that notion just is deemed unacceptable. And people tell you, well, you've got to be realistic, and then you're going to have kids, and then your life is going to be like this. And they kind of lay out to you exactly what your life is going to look like, even if you yourself don't feel like that's actually what you want to do. We get to an age where we just kind of follow the road because people tell us this is what life is like. But what does realistic even mean? Because there are so many people who are living realistic lives that are unbelievably insane and incredible. You think that they ever thought that they needed to be realistic and just suck it up and get the corporate job and do what everyone else was telling you to do? No, they had this undeniable faith that it was going to work. Whatever they wanted to do, if they were living in alignment with who they were supposed to be, it was going to work. They weren't realistic. So if you want an unrealistic life, quote unquote unrealistic, you've got to believe that the unrealistic is possible. And I feel like that's the same thing when it comes to buying a property, right? Especially in today's market. We're not even just today's market. In the market for the last 4 or 5 years, right? It's been absolutely insane, right? Either prices are going for way over asking price, or for example, right now, there's very little inventory. People see that and they think, oh, I'm never going to be able to buy a house. And they just kind of give up. But that's not how it works. If you have this undeniable confidence that you are going to be able to find the property that works for you, that fits your needs, that gives you cash flow, that covers your living expenses, that provides for your family, you're going to be able to do it. You are. You are. You can't just keep letting these doubts and these fears enter into your mind about the housing market, about interest rates. I remember for me, I've been looking at places in Colorado because I plan on moving to Colorado soon. And for a while, I just looked at properties and really was having a hard time seeing how it was going to work for me in that market because prices are a lot higher in Denver, in Colorado. Prices just don't make as much sense on paper, especially if you're trying to do what I do, which is house hacking, live in part of the property, rent other parts of it out for additional income so that I can live for free and I don't have to worry about my mortgage and my expenses on the property. So many people for so many years have said it's just impossible to house hack properly in Colorado. It doesn't work. The prices are too high. I just don't believe that's true. I don't believe that's true at all. I remember seeing on Instagram, there's a girl at Money Honey Rachel, and she did a house hack in Colorado. And she cash flows $2,400 or $2,500 a month on it. And it's there, see, it's possible. I remember for me, that is what sparked my brain in terms of showing me that it was possible. And I just needed to see it being done in order to really believe it. And this last month, properties have started popping up that are going to work perfectly for me. And I'm like, see, there it is. You just have to have that undeniable belief that it's going to happen. At first, it may not make sense, and you're probably going to question it quite a bit because you look at what's out there on the market and it doesn't make sense. But what your job is to keep believing it's possible and seeking out different situations where other people have shown that it's possible, because that is going to reinforce your belief on the back end that you can do it too. I think back to when I first discovered real estate investing back in like 2020. I was $25,000 in credit card debt. I was working in this corporate job. I really didn't have much in savings, but that did not deter me from knowing that I was going to be able to reach my goal of finding a cash flowing duplex that was super cute and covered all of my living expenses. Unrealistic things happen every single day. Me getting out of debt within less than a year and buying a property was unrealistic. Most people would have said, well, it's probably going to take you a few years. Like, no, I refuse to accept that. Or even when I quit my corporate job, I had no real backup. I did not have a job lined up. I had nothing lined up at the time, but I just quit knowing for sure that I was going to be able to figure it out. And I did. And at first it seems kind of crazy, right? But if you have that knowledge within yourself or that belief within yourself, it's going to happen. That doubt and that fear we have ends up creeping in, but you've got to squash the fear and the doubt and do what you and yourself internally just think and believe is right. And I know that was kind of like a long tangent to really get into like the meat and potatoes of this episode, which is that accomplishing big things in life, accomplishing the things that you really, really, really want to do doesn't have to be hard. It can be fun. It can be simple. It can be enjoyable, fun, easy, free, flowing. Or it can be hard. If you decide that it's going to be hard, if you decide that it's going to be a struggle the entire time and that's just what you're destined for, then then it might look like that for you. But if you decide that it doesn't actually have to be like that, it won't. It won't. You can decide what it will look like for you. Now, I know that's easier said than done, but hear me out, because if you're the kind of person who follows everything that you see in the media and just kind of believes what everyone tells you to and decides to subscribe to whatever channel people tell you need to subscribe to, then maybe I may not be your girl. But if you are the kind of person that feels like what you have been prescribed about life, about the way things work, about what you can do with your life, and something feels off to you about the normal trajectory and it's not serving you, and that there's like this internal conflict of what you feel like you should be doing versus what you actually want to be doing, then I may be your girl. Because here's the thing. People have a whole lot of opinions and beliefs about what's true to them and their lives. Let's go through a few beliefs that people may have, right? A lot of people will say parenting is hard, but I know so many people who actually don't believe that parenting is hard. It feels fun. It feels exciting. It doesn't feel hard. But if you go into it with the mindset that, oh my gosh, this is going to be hard, this is going to be difficult, then it's probably going to be hard and difficult. Or here's one that I always thought was so fascinating, where I have so many people who will say, of course you're going to have conflicts with your friends and you're going to fight. That's just normal. It's a part of life. But when I think about like all of my really, really good friendships, like all of like my ride or dies, my close friends, we don't fight. Like, we really do not fight. That is not a norm. That's not a standard. We never said that we don't fight, but we made the decision somehow collectively in the ether, right? That fighting was just not a part of our relationship. It wasn't a part of our friendship. That's not something we do. But a lot of other people will tell you that that's just not realistic. And I'm like, no, to heck with that, right? Here's another belief that I want to kind of squash, okay? When people say that real estate investing is complicated, yes, sure, it can be complicated, but there are so many people who aren't that like super, super smart doing real estate investing. It's really not that hard. At the end of the day, it's very simple. It's expenses versus income, right? And you generally just want your income to be higher than your expenses. That's it. It doesn't have to get complicated. Here's one of my favorite ones to squash: that travel is dangerous. Traveling around the world is dangerous. I have been traveling by myself since the age of 13, not even 13, since the age of 11. I have been just fine. I honestly find that I feel a lot safer when I'm traveling versus when I'm at home. So, like, for example, I live in New Orleans right now. I find New Orleans to be way more dangerous than most of the other places in the world that I've traveled to. But a lot of people believe that traveling is super dangerous, especially as a solo female, blah, 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 blah. And that just hasn't been my reality at all. Here's a funny quote that I know one of my close friends always used to say is, life sucks, then you die. And I know that's kind of morbid, but it is a funny quote that gets thrown around quite a lot, especially once you start working in corporate America, and especially once you're maybe living just like a fine life. It's nothing super special. You're kind of doing the things and going through the motions, and it's just like life sucks, then you die. But it doesn't have to. Life doesn't have to suck. Life can be really freaking amazing and super fun and super exciting. And I think I posted literally to my Instagram the other day or yesterday that my life is like a TV show and I choose to live accordingly. And I honestly, genuinely believe that. I want my life to be super fun and exciting and interesting. And once you have internally decided that, that's how it ends up being. Because we are fed this belief that life is hard and life gets hard when you adult, or business is hard. I love the Hormozis, like Alex and Layla Hormozi. I think they're incredible. They've done such great things. And if you don't know them, they're super successful entrepreneurs who've built multi-million dollar businesses and sold them and now building like $1 billion businesses. They're crushing it, right? But their ethos and what they preach is that in order to be successful, it has to be super, 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 super hard. You're going to work hard. You're going to go through the dirt. It's going to be difficult. And while like I love them, I just do not resonate with that at all. Like, I do not think that life has to be hard and work has to be hard and building a business has to be hard. Like, I just believe that it can be super fun and flowy and easy. And that's the way that I see my life going, right? But if you like the idea of it being hard and coming out the other side and having to overcome big obstacles to get to where you need to go, and that motivates you, amazing. Keep at it. But if that is not serving you, turn it on its head. Like, it doesn't have to be hard. And that's literally what I've been writing in my journal every day now for the last week or so. And I think it's like my new mantra is that life just doesn't have to be that hard. And every time I write it, I'm like, that's so true. Life doesn't have to be that hard. It can be easy. It can be fun. I think about how when I started my YouTube channel, it just felt really hard. Like, the entire time that I was doing it, the whole year, everything about it felt so hard. And people kept telling you got to be consistent. And I was like, I'm going to try to be consistent. I'm really working at it. Let's go. But every time I did it, it just didn't feel right. It felt difficult. But now doing this podcast, I feel so freaking lit up and it feels so fun and it feels so easy. And it allows me to be consistent to YouTube because, while this podcast is on all the streaming channels like Apple Podcasts and Spotify and all of that, it's also being posted onto YouTube. And it's great now because the way that I'm doing it is I don't feel like I have to write a script. I also don't feel like I have to be completely off the cuff and not look at anything. Like, I literally have notes in front of me so I don't go completely off my rocker and off the wheels. Because if you know me and you've had conversations with me, I tend to be a little scatterbrained and I'll think of this random thing that comes in and I'll completely go on a different tangent, and this random thing that comes in and goes completely on a tangent. And because we're doing this in podcast format, I do want it to be a little bit more streamlined so that there's an actual like beginning, middle, and end to it. But having notes makes this so fun and easy for me because I'll get random ideas throughout the week and I can just plug them in here and craft my script, right? Craft my notes over time versus feeling like I gotta knock it all out at once, which is just not how I work. I want this to be just a reminder to you to take the pressure off of yourself and realize it just doesn't have to be that hard. Like, I know people tell you it is hard, but what if it wasn't? What if it didn't have to be? What if it felt more fun? What if it felt more easy? What if you were able to create anything you wanted and do anything you wanted and it just felt right? What if money flowed easily and you had plenty of it to go around? What if real estate investing was so easy and buying a property, buying that first property or that second property or that 20th property was just like another drop in the bucket and it felt totally easy and fine? What if school and work felt aligned, felt good? Because what we're doing right now is we're just reframing our brain, reframing the mindset, reframing the way we see the world. And we can do that by recognizing when our thoughts aren't serving us and leaning into and creating new beliefs that will serve us. And if you don't have that current belief for yourself, lean into my beliefs. Feel free to take any of my beliefs. And if that helps you create your own beliefs in the future, do that. Because sometimes that's what we got to do. We got to kind of see and use other people's beliefs to really believe in it ourselves. And so if you need to take my mantra that like life really doesn't have to be that hard, life isn't that hard, it doesn't have to be, go ahead, have at it, write it everywhere, okay? Because I remember that's what I had to do a few years ago. I tell everyone to read the book Everything is Figureoutable by Marie Forleo because that's one of my favorite books and it's what I recommend to all of my coaching and mentoring students. And for years, I wrote Everything is Figureoutable in my journal. I was borrowing Marie's belief. And now I feel like I've kind of created my own mantra and my own belief that life really just doesn't have to be that hard. And so if you feel like that mantra serves you, take it, use it, run with it, okay? So that's all I got for you. Like these solo episodes are new. They definitely make me nervous. Like I am not used to doing stuff like this. So if you could let me know what you think about them, that would be awesome. Do you like these? Do you hate these? Are you like, Olivia, shut up, please stop doing these? Or are you like, no, more of this? Let me know. Tag me on Instagram if you're listening to this and this resonated with you. And I'm not going to lie, even if you say that, no, this episode was terrible, I'm probably still going to keep doing them. So, but I would like to know what you liked about it and what you didn't. That's all for today. Bye, fam. Thank you so much for listening to Wanderlust Wealth Show. Now, don't forget to follow the podcast, or if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you love this episode, it would literally mean the world to me if you shared this with a friend or a family member or literally like anyone off of the street. Like right now, go ahead, share it so you don't forget, or post it on social media and make sure to tag me. I love seeing what you're listening in on and what you resonated with, and I'm just so freaking thankful for you. I'm so freaking excited for you. I love you, and don't forget, life really doesn't have to be hard.